So there's a film that's gone viral all over the world. And for the first time in a very long time, it's not a DC film. It's not a Marvel film. It's not even a Christopher Nolan film. It's actually a film from India.
It's called RRR.
What else can I say about RRR?
People love this film, and I mean love it.
Watching this film is like watching film history being written right in front of your eyes.
And I can't remember the last time that I screamed, hollered, laughed, clapped, just had an all-around insanely good time watching a movie.
It has everything Hollywood movies wish they had today.
I thought RRR was awesome, Tack.
So, how did this Tollywood film first win over all of India and then conquered the entire world? Let me tell you why that happened and why personally I love this film, and I really hope this is a turning point for Indian cinema. So in case you've been living under a rock or you saw Shamshera and fell into a deep coma, RRR is a Tollywood film directed by S.S. Rajamouli and starring two of Tollywood's biggest stars, Ramcharan Teja and NTR Jr. The film was made on a budget of around 550 crores, which is around $72 million, and the film grossed around 1200 crores, which is around 160 to 170 million dollars. It is one of the most successful films in Indian history. So it begs the question, why is this film so successful? Why does the world love RRR so much? Well, because RRR is kind of a masterpiece for many reasons. First of all, it just makes cinema fun. It reminds the world of what cinema is supposed to be. Escapism, exciting, fun. As a Western movie reviewer says,
epic drama movie featuring insanely overblown action sequences that take the laws of physics, gravity and common sense and tell them to go fuck themselves.
And this is what Bollywood has missed for the last few years. Look, there is clearly a place for serious, low-key, more esoteric cinema. But Indian cinema's USP has always been that it turns the dial to 11. The uniqueness of the Indian film industry that no other film industry does quite as well is that old stereotype that this film has action, romance, drama, comedy, music. It is completely paisa vasool. And that is exactly what RRR is. But the amazing thing about this film is that everything that it does completely sincerely. Whether it's action, comedy, drama, emotion, romance, the film commits 100%. If this was Hollywood, if this was a Marvel movie, they'd be winking at the camera like Deadpool, being like, oh my god, look at all this over-the-top action, look at all this over-the-top emotion. We realize how absurd this is, that's why we're winking at the camera. But that's the beauty of RRR. It is completely genuine. At one point, one of the heroes fights a crowd of about 3,000 to 4,000 people alone with just a stick. The stick is so bloody overpowered that China is already trying to figure out how to copy this technology. It is over the top, but it is not played for laughs. It is done completely genuinely. Our heroes throw motorcycles at the villains. Our heroes throws a bloody cheetah at the villains. Our hero shoots an arrow into a tree and then kicks that arrow into a British soldier's head. Again, it's all done completely seriously, and that is why it is awesome. This is the magic that classic 90s movies like Face Off used to have, that Hollywood and Bollywood have slowly lost. Even the core of the film, which is the friendship that develops between our two heroes of the film, is shown completely genuinely. You know that if this was a Hollywood film, they would have thrown a bunch of gay jokes into the movie at this point. The other reason why people love this film is because it is a completely original movie. There is a real lack of original films all over the world. Bollywood has had this problem for quite a while, where they've just been remaking more successful and better South Indian films. In the United States, Marvel has basically turned the art of making movies into an algorithm or a formula, which has led to what I call the McDonaldization of movies. You know exactly what you're going to get when you go see a Marvel film now. Okay, maybe not exactly. Which has drastically reduced the excitement of fans when they're going to watch Marvel products in Phase 4. And that's why even the people that are involved in Marvel movies are loving RRR so much. Another reason why this film is connecting with audiences over the world is because it is just sensational anti-British propaganda. And I mean, who in the world can't get behind hating the British? Except maybe the British, who are, by the way, extremely triggered by this film. For whom the thought of a British officer torturing an Indian is just unthinkable. who believe that Netflix should be ashamed of promoting such propaganda against the British. Seriously, how are the Indians not happy that we took all of their money, killed a bunch of their people? We thought it'd be really fun for them. We thought it'd be just like FIFA Manager for them. When instead of you rebuilding a football team from scratch, the Indians would have to rebuild their entire country from scratch.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
The film has echoes of Inglourious Basterds, which is one of the best pieces of historical fiction ever produced. And listen, as much as this film has triggered certain British people, the film isn't even about that, really. The real story is about the friendship between the two main characters and how they come together to fight the enemies of the motherland. And another reason why I think the world loves this film and why I personally love this film is because the film is not trying to be a Western film. It is unabashedly an Indian movie. It wears India on its sleeve proudly. It's not trying to be a Western film. It's not trying to shed its Indianness in order to appeal to a Western audience. This is what a certain section of Indian filmmakers do not understand when they reject their own culture as backward and uncouth in order to appeal to a larger audience. And that is why that same section of people hate RRR. That is why they call this film Hindutva propaganda. That is why they believe that this film is furthering Hindutva nationalism's project. That's the thing, man. If you don't like yourself, you can't expect anybody else to like you either. Why I love the film is because it's full of Indian civilizational symbolism. The story of the two heroes resembles the friendship between Sri Ram and the freakishly strong Hanuman. Alluri Sita Rama Raju's transformation in the climax of the movie into almost like a Sri Ram-like figure is just beautiful. The movie ends with a victorious Ram returning to his village with Sita after defeating the British.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
These civilizational aspects are why Indians connected so deeply with this film. And this is why I believe that Westerners connected to this film as well. Because Indian culture is very different from Western culture, and so it is very unique for a Western audience. And so the celebration of this Indian culture is incredibly exciting for such an audience. A film like RRR is completely in opposition to a film like Gehraiyan, which 95% of India just can't resonate with. Again, not to say that there isn't a market for films like Gehraiyan, but a global audience will rather tune in to watch RRR over Gehraiyan because if it wants to watch a weird esoteric drama, it would rather watch its own dramas. Another reason why I love this film is because it's incredibly proud of India, just like the Hindutva movement. It's not ashamed of its culture. Just like the Hindutva movement believes that we can improve upon the actions of our ancestors, we can improve upon our traditions, but we will not discard them. The film doesn't have any preachiness to it. If this was a Bollywood film, you know for a fact that Alluri Sita Rama Raju would be an atheist. Instead of wearing his sacred thread, he would cut off his sacred thread. But then he would meet the Muslim family and become so overwhelmed by their kindness that in the climax of the movie, he would put on a skull cap and go out to fight the British and the evil Brahmin zamindars. You know that's what Bollywood would have done. And again, talking about subliminal messaging, the film shows without any preachiness how a tribal and a non-tribal just became the best of friends. This is the India envisioned by Hindutva and people like Veer Savarkar. Rama and Bhima not fighting each other, but joining hands to fight the enemies of the civilization.
Yeah, boy.
Again, speaking of subliminal messaging, when the left is busy telling you that Vande Mataram is a communal slogan, when certain Muslim leaders tell their followers not to chant Vande Mataram because it is un-Islamic, to see a mainstream film like RRR unabashedly embrace Vande Mataram caused me as much happiness as the pain I'm sure it caused Arfa Khanum and 45-year-old JNU students. And the last song of the film really showcases how ambitious RRR is as a film. It makes it very clear that it is a Telugu film, but it is meant for entire India. And if Bollywood doesn't want to appeal to India, Tollywood will happily take its place. How they showed great Indian heroes like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Sardar Patel, Tirunelveli, and even Shivaji are some of the reasons why Indians connect to this film so strongly and why the gatekeepers of Indian culture hate it so much. For a culture that has lacked self-respect for a better part of a century, to see a film love its culture so much, how can you not root for such a movie? And also, I hope that this film shows Bollywood the way forward. forward. I hope Bollywood learns some lessons from this film, particularly after the decent performance that Brahmastra has given. Even though Brahmastra was an average film, because it showed a connection to Indian culture and India's heritage, and it didn't lecture the Indian audience like shows like Tandav or Leela, for example, Indians still connected to this film very strongly. And so I hope that RRR becomes a turning point in Indian cinema and gives other movie industries and other filmmakers a roadmap about how to connect to the Indian audience again. And I want to ask you, did you watch RRR? What did you think of the film? Please let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Again, if you like this English series that I've been making recently, let me know what topic I should make the next video on in the comment section down below. I will see you for the next episode, and until then, stay happy, stay healthy. I will see you next time, and to all of you, a secular pranam.